This is Eat, Sleep, Invest, the marketing podcast for real estate investors to get more deals.
Okay, so you look and you're like, okay, something happened to me in the past, makes me blink subconsciously just because of whatever it is. Like, how do you resolve that?
So it's a simple process. It's the same thing that will resolve every single problem in your life. I had a client who had OCD so bad that she would pick at her heel to the point where she couldn't walk on it. It was so bad. And after 3 1-hour sessions, this was 6 months ago, she has not touched her heel since. What did we do? We did exactly what I said a couple minutes ago. We went back and we explored her childhood and we figured out what were the stories that she told herself, what were the feelings that came from the childhood stress that she was involved in, and then we told a new story. And then through neuroplasticity, neural reprogramming, your brain is literally capable of growing new neural pathways and new neurons. So I create a recording, and for 30 days in a relaxed state, and your brain is in an alpha state as you're going to sleep. That's a state where you can take in suggestion. You listen to this recording for 30 days and your brain literally changes. So shit that used to bother you, shit that used to bother me, doesn't bother me at all anymore. I'm no longer in a triggered state. And for business owners out there, my buddy Eugene Choi has an amazing podcast that talks about most entrepreneurs spend 75% of their time in a fight or flight mode. What is fight or flight? It's because the trauma that's unresolved from your childhood, until you separate from that, your brain doesn't know the difference between yesterday and 30 years ago. So you stay in this fight or flight mode. When you're in a fight or flight mode, Brian, if there's a tiger chasing you, do you think you're going to be able to come up with really good copy for a sales letter? Do you think you're going to be able to think about how is my cash flow going to impact things in the next, or properties being sold going to impact my cash flow in the next 60 days? No. So entrepreneurs don't even know, like, why do I have chaos in my business? Why aren't things going well? Well, if your brain is in a fight or flight state for 75% of your day, you're not accessing most of your creative intelligence.
Yeah, and you're so right too. I even looked at that on the opposite side. So like I got into exercising a lot this year, right? And like all business owners, I'm stressed out half the time. So if I push my body to the limits, I can only focus on the one thing. Like while I'm exercising, same as a lion, and you're right. You can only focus on that thing, so you can't focus on other things. You're going to be, it's too tough, you know?
No. So they did this study at UCLA where they got 100 participants and they showed them pictures of people in a stress state, like angry, upset. It immediately triggered their monkey brain, their fight or flight response. Then this is an exercise everyone can use. So listen to this carefully. Then they asked the participants, explain what it is that you see. The second that they went to, I see anger, or they're feeling anger, they're feeling sadness, their brain shifted from the monkey state, fight or flight, to the executive thinking brain because they had to think, and it immediately pulled them out of the fight or flight. So when you find yourself in a triggered state, stop, pause, take a deep breath, and identify the emotion. What is it you're feeling? I am feeling sad right now. I am feeling nervous. Because most of us as a child didn't get to express our emotions or give ourselves compassion for the emotion. So you don't say, I am angry, because that's an identity. Identities don't change or they take a long time. Feelings come and go. So your brain wants to hear, I am feeling, and then you sit with that feeling. You give yourself compassion. You go, it's okay, Brian. Say it to yourself. It's okay that I'm feeling sad. It's going to pass, and then let it pass. And then you'll pull yourself out of that triggered state way faster. And the reason that you're sad, if you're having an argument with your wife, it's never about you leaving the toilet seat up or her not doing your favorite thing. It always goes back to your childhood, because your brain's going to go back to the worst time ever where someone did something similar and it made you feel a certain way. So you're like, oh, my wife didn't pick me up from the mall on time. She must not love me. No. Maybe she had a flat tire. Maybe she had a bad day. Maybe she had to, go pick up your kid. But our brains are supposed to keep us alive, go to the worst thing ever. You shake a bush, a lion bites you, right? So now for 30 years, 100 years, when you see that bush, you're like, there might be a lion. Look out for the lion. So that's what, we don't even know this stuff. Like, this is all stuff that I just learned over the last 2 years. That's just like, oh my God, all these arguments I had with my 2 wives, the laying in my bed until 3 o'clock in the morning, couldn't sleep because I was so pissed off. I was doing that for shit that happened when I was 6 years old.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because you're talking about not necessarily what happened, but what you told yourself and what your story is when that happened, right?
Yes. So one of my mentors, Brian, says the trauma isn't the actual event that happened to you. That is a traumatic event. The trauma is what you tell yourself about that event. And when shit happens to us, when we're molested, we're raped, we're beaten, we're told we're no good, what do? We tell ourselves a story. Well, this must be happening because I did something to contribute. I'm wrong, I'm bad. And then you keep that in your head until you do the work. Some people never do the work. My father died 5 years ago. He never did the work. He was always this sad little kid inside of him trying to prove himself through buying fancy cars and flying first class and putting suits on every day. He died. He missed the whole meaning of life because he was never given an opportunity to say, hey, and I don't know if he would have taken it, but yeah, it's a marvelous thing when you can literally change your life and change your children's life and change your relationship in your business by just changing the way that you think about things.